Okay, so shall I start?
Yes, sir. You can start.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you and good afternoon, everyone. So I am Saptak Bhattacharya. I am a research scholar at the School of Mechatronics and Robotics, IIST Shibpur. So today I'll be discussing about marker-based AR application development. So sir has already showed us videos and the concept of AR, VR, and somewhat haptics. So I'll be showing you how to develop AR and VR applications in Unity. So I will show you one application development on AR, one application development on VR, and also I will show you about applications of haptics. Okay, so there are different types of AR. So basically, we can classify augmented reality into types. One is marker based and one is marker less. So as we all know that in indoor environments, marker based AR are very much suitable. But for outdoor environments, marker less AR is more suitable than that, but it's much more complex than marker based AR. So today we'll be discussing how to develop a marker based augmented reality application in Unity 3. Okay. So this will be the overview for that. So we'll discuss about how to enable marker recognition and to configure Vue4ia software for marker, and also Unity 3D configuration and how to develop an Android app with that. So when we talk about marker-based AR, that means there is a target image or there is a target object, which when detected by the computer or mobile phone or the system which is running AR, so which when detected, the computer superimposes a virtual object on the marker image, right? So that is what is augmented reality. That is why it is known as augmented reality. That means we are augmenting a virtual thing on a real-time image. Now, if it is a static image, then the experience will not be immersive. So that is why the superimposition is done on real-time video. So how it is done? Basically, videos we know are frames of images. So they are a set of frames or set of images. For each and every image, for each and every instant, the computer detects the target image or the marker and superimposes the particular virtual object. So for developing our application, I have used the image of a drawing book as a target image. So this will be my target image. That means whenever the computer will detect this image, whatever virtual object we create, it will be superimposed on this target image, right? So this is our target image. I have just taken the picture and I have uploaded it to my computer. Now the next part is whenever we are saying that, I hope my screen is visible, right? My screen is visible.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 Thank you. Thank you. So whenever we are discussing about detecting the target image, that means the computer or the processor should be able to detect the target image. Now, how the computer will detect? That means the computer needs to already to be trained with that image. So that means here some intelligence portion is coming. So this part is basically consists of computer vision, image processing and computer vision. So whenever we are using this AR application, obviously there will be a computer vision algorithm running behind it. So image processing and computer vision algorithm would be running to detect the particular marker. So if I'm using this target image, that means I have to train the computer vision algorithm about the particular image. Now this can be done in two ways. Either we write the whole computer vision algorithm from scratch or by using some libraries in our particular software as we choose in Python or C++ or Visual Basic. So whatever we need, we can write it from scratch. Or else, if we don't want to write the particular computer vision algorithm, but we want to use the computer vision algorithm, there is one software which is very much popular for handling those tasks. So that software is Vuforia. So this is Vuforia Augmented Reality SDK, or the software development kit. So what does this Vuforia software do? So the Vuforia software is an augmented reality software development kit for mobile devices that enables the creation of augmented reality applications. So it is dedicated for creating AR applications. So it uses computer vision technology to recognize and track planar images and 3D objects in real time. So that is what I was discussing. So Vuforia uses computer vision algorithm. So already the computer vision algorithm has been written inside Vuforia. So we can use the API of Vuforia. API means application programming interface. So we can use Vuforia or the computer vision algorithm that has been built in Vuforia to detect a particular marker. In that case, we don't have to develop the computer vision algorithm from scratch. And Vuforia provides a very good marker detection application with a good accuracy. Okay, so it is told that it helps to recognize planar images and 3D objects. So we can detect planar images as I have shown you, target image, or we can also use 3D objects for detection. The image registration capability enables developers to position and orient virtual objects. Now the image registration part comes. So what is image registration? I was discussing that the marker detection is very much and AR is very much related with image processing and computer vision. The image registration is what is the current position and orientation of the particular marker. Because when we are superimposing a virtual object on a real-time image or real-time video, so it is very much necessary that the position and orientation of the virtual object should match exactly with the position and orientation of the real-time image. And the way the position and orientation of the real-time object changes, simultaneously the position and orientation of the virtual object should also change to give a immersive and realistic feeling. Otherwise, the AR applications becomes futile. So to develop a successful AR application, the image registration part is very, very necessary. I will show you. Such 3D models and other media in relation to real world objects when they're viewed through camera or a mobile device. So we can use mobile phone camera. Also, we can use computer webcam or computer laptop camera for detecting the particular marker. The virtual object then tracks the position and orientation of the image in real time. So the viewer's perspective on the object corresponds with the perspective on the target, as we are discussing. So it thus appears as the virtual object is a part of real world scene. So that with what will give you an immersive experience. So the Vuforia SDK supports a variety of 2D and 3D target images, including markerless image targets. Okay, so in markerless here also there are image targets, but in case of marker based also it supports various 2D as well as 3D image targets. So Vuforia is completely capable to handle this type of image registration procedures. Okay, so the 3D model target and a form of addressable fiducial marker. I will show you what is fiducial marker known as VuMark. Okay, so how Vuforia identifies a particular target by using the fiducial markers known as VuMark. So additional features of the SDK include 6 degrees of freedom device localization in space. So 6 degrees of freedom, that means we can detect the X, Y, Z and roll, pitch, yaw. So 3 plus 3, 6. So 6 DOF localization in space, and localized occlusion detection using virtual buttons. So Vuforia is also capable to handle partial occlusions. So it is having a very robust algorithm to handle occlusions. What is occlusion? Occlusion is when we are displaying the target image to the computer, if it partly gets covered or the image portion, a part of image, target image is not visible, still Vuforia can understand what is the target image and it can superimpose, as well as it can detect its position and orientation. So that is what is known as occlusion. So Vuforia is enough capable to handle partial occlusions. So Vuforia provides application programming interfaces or APIs in C++, Java, Objective-C++, and .NET languages through an extension to the Unity game engine, Unity software. So in this way, the SDK supports both development for iOS, Android, and UWP, while also enables the development of AR applications or .exe applications in Windows in Unity 3D that are easily portable to these platforms. So by using Unity 3D as well as Vuforia, we can develop an AR application very easily. And those steps I'm going to show you. So now the first step comes as how to create an account in Vuforia, right? So I'll be playing the video. Vuforia account configuration. Okay. So first we can search in Google as Vuforia. So it will show the Vuforia developer portal. Okay, so we can click on that and the Vuforia configuration part will open. So once the Vuforia engine opens, we have to first create an account. We have to create a developer account in order to use Vuforia. So for the first time, we have to create an account, and from the next time, we can just log in using the email ID and password. So this is what the Vuforia website looks like. So we have to first click on register. Right? So we have to click on register, and we have to give our details as name and other things for account creation. So it will ask for name, company, and all other things. So once the account has been created after entering all the details, an email will be sent for account activation in the email ID you have given. So we have to click on the email ID and our account will be activated. So once the account becomes activated, we can log in Vuforia by using the given email ID and password. So first, when the Vuforia software opens, it will show us that two options. One is license manager and the other one is target manager. So in the license manager, it is now empty because no licenses has been created. So what is a license? Now for each and every target image or marker, there will be one license and one database unique to it. So each and every target image or marker will be having its own unique license and target. So if we are uploading 5 different images for 5 different 5 different markers, each and every marker will be having its own unique license as well as database. So how to create a license in Vuforia? So we will enter in the license manager and we will click on this get development key. Sorry. Okay, so once the account part is created, so so this will be the video. So how to create a license? So we have to click on get development key. So if we click on this get development key, the license creation page will open. So the license creation page will open, which will show add a free development license key. So this is completely free. License is completely free. So it is showing some statistics that the license key is type is develop, price no charge, recommended usage is 1000 uses per month. Now for each and every license, a license name needs to be given, which will be unique. So we have to keep this license name in mind. So we have to give this like unique license name for each and every AR application. I am giving the license name as AR Workshop Demo App. So this will be the name of the license. So the type is develop, price no charge, recommended usage is 1000 per month, since this is free of cost. So view marks up to 100 view marks we can use. That means 200 fiducial markers we can use. So once the license is created, we have to click on confirm to activate the license. And under the license manager, the AR Workshop Demo App, it will come. So it is showing us type as develop status active. That means the license has become active now. What we have to do, we have to click on this license name and we have to copy the license. So we have to click, if we click on the license name, the license detail will open. Now this is showing us AR Workshop Demo App. This is the license name. It is telling, please copy the license key below into your app. So we have to copy the below license and we have to open it in, we can open Notepad in our computer, we can paste it and we can save it in the corresponding folder with the corresponding name. So I've pasted it. And I save it in the corresponding folder. So the license should be kept in the folder where we want to create the AR application. So once the license configuration part is done, next we will go for target manager, where we will create a particular database. As I have already told, each and every marker will be having its own unique license as well as its unique database. So after creating the license, we have to click on this target manager and the target manager portion will open. Okay, so in the target manager, we have to click on this add database, right? So if we click on this add database, then similar to license, that one database will be created. So when we click on this add database, the option will come as create database. So here we also have to give a unique name to it. So for each marker, there will be a unique license with a unique name and unique database with a unique name. The type will be device since we want to use it in the device. And we have to click on create. So once we click create, the database will be created. Type is device, targets is 0. Now why it is showing 0? Because till now we have not uploaded the target marker. So what we have to do, we have to click on the name on the database, AR workshop demo target, and the database will open. Once the database opens, we have to click on this add target. Okay. We have to click on this add target to upload the marker. So if we click on add target, this window will open, which is showing a single image, cuboid, cylinder, or 3D object. So it is basically asking what type of object we want to use as a marker. Since we here want to use a planar image or a 2D image as a target, so we will select the single image. If somebody wants to use a cuboid or a cylinder or a 3D object for a marker, he or she has to choose that particular option. So here I will be choosing the single image, and the file, the marker file is already there, the image file is already there. So I have to browse and upload it. So I am uploading the marker in Vuforia now. So this is the marker. And it will also, once it is already selected, it will also ask for width. So what is width? This is basically the scale. If we want the size of the target should be on the same scale of the AR virtual content, so we will give width as 1. Okay. So next we have to click on add. So it is also saying name must be unique to our database. When a target is detected, this will be reported in the API. A message will come, the target is detected. So if we click on add, it will upload the target in Vuforia. Now the marker is being added to Vuforia. Once the marker is uploaded, now it will show us status is processing. And here in the rating, there are 5 stars, but no star has been given yet because it is processing. What is rating? I will show you. So in what is processing going on? That means the target image, what we have uploaded in Vuforia, is basically being used for training of the computer vision algorithm in Vuforia. And that is what is known as processing. So the training part is going on now. The computer is understanding the target image, the marker. Once the training part is completed, it will show the status as active. So we have to wait until the status comes as active. Okay. So once the status becomes active, now it is showing the rating as 5 star. So it will show the rating as 5 star. So what does this rating signify? So the rating basically signifies how much unique the picture is. So what does this uniqueness mean? I will click on the name, so it will open, the details will open. So now we can see AR app target. So the marker has been uploaded, and in the rating portion, it is showing us type as single image, status as active, and augmentable rating is 5 star. Augmentable means how easily the computer will be able to, or the Vuforia will be able to detect this particular image. So how much augmentable, how easily it can be detected. So that is augmentability rating. Now why it is important? So which type of images should have higher augmentability rating? Those type of pictures which is having maximum asymmetry in them. So asymmetry means if there is a symmetry in the picture, then if we rotate the picture in that particular axis, then the computer vision algorithm or Vuforia will not be able to recognize the orientation change because of its symmetry. So the more asymmetrical an image is, the more augmentability rating will be. So here in this image, we can see this is a very asymmetric image. So that is why we have to keep in mind anytime when we are using this particular AR application, we are using our own particular marker. When we upload it, the augmentability rating should come as 4 or 5. So less than that is not a good target. So if we are using an image which is having an augmented rating of 4 star or 5 star, then that means very easily the computer will be able to detect it. So we have to keep this in mind. Right? Now, how the computer understood this particular target image so it does not get confused with other images? So by the use of fiducial markers, which is known as view mark. What are fiducial markers? So in the image, I will show you. So if I click on the image, if I click on the show features, then the image will open and lots of plus symbols will open. So these plus symbols are the locations which is known as view mark or the fiducial markers. So Vuforia has used these particular locations and the orientation of these particular markers or fiducial points to detect a particular image. Obviously, for a different image, this orientation of these particular fiducial markers will be different, and this is how Vuforia will be able to distinguish between other pictures and the marker image. So these are the fiducial markers that Vuforia will be using or will use to detect a particular marker. So once the target has been uploaded, so we have to go back this again in our workshop demo target, and then we have to click on this download database. Download database. Now we have to click on this download database, and exactly so we will be selecting the platform as Unity editor. So this database will be used by Unity to detect the particular marker. So what does this database consist of? This is basically the trained computation model. Okay, so this will be used by Unity. So we have to download it and keep it where we have kept the license also. So once the database has been downloaded, so we have to copy and paste it in the folder, and it has already came in the Unity format. So as Vuforia, in Vuforia, it was said that Vuforia supports Unity through its API. So it provides the database in the form of an asset or in the form of a package. Okay. So we have created a license. We have trained the computer vision algorithm of Vuforia and downloaded the database. So the Vuforia portion, software portion is done now. The next part comes how to create a project in Unity. Now to create a particular project in Unity, the 19 version, so we can use any version so we have to keep in mind, we just have to keep in mind that whenever we are installing Unity, we should add the Vuforia package also when we are installing. So once the Unity part is installed, we have to click on Unity. I will show you the procedure. So we have to click on the Unity. So I'm here now. Here I'm using the Unity 2019. It will take some time to open based on the processor speed as well as RAM of the computer, since it is a computer graphics application. So what is Unity? Unity is very popular game design engine. So earlier it was used to design games, video games. Now it is being used to develop VR and AR applications. It is very, very popular. So I'm using Unity over here. So first we have to give a particular name to a project, and the type of the project will be 3D. So I click on create project. Check whether okay. So I will maybe for a particular reason it is saying unable to install. We can use you can use 2017 version. You can try to use it. So you can check it. Maybe for a particular problem in the computer, it is saying that. Okay. So once we create a new project, the Unity window will open. Now, once the Unity project window opens, it will look like something this. So this is the project has been opened, and this is the particular screen window that will be coming. Okay. So once we created a project, now we have to create, configure the license and the database. So first what we have to do is we have to save the particular scene. So what is a scene? Scene is basically where we will be developing our VR or AR application. So the virtual object creation window is known as a scene. So here this is a scene. It is having nothing now. Only two components are there. One is main camera and one is directional light. No objects are there. And the scene name is untitled. So what we have to first do is we have to save scene. So if we want to develop an AR application or a .exe application or iOS application, the Android application, iOS application, or those type of applications. So we first have to save the scene. Right. Okay, I will discuss that matter afterwards. So first we have to click on File. We have to click on File and we have to go on Build Settings. So scenes in build is nothing till, so we have to click on Add Open Scenes. But before that, we'll click on this Android. If we want to develop an Android application, we'll click on Android. If we want to develop iOS, we'll click on iOS. And for PC, for .exe Windows, we will click on the first option. So if we click on Android, it will show some options, right? So it will show some options like player settings. So this player settings portion is particularly very much important. So, but before that, let us first save the scene. So we have to click on add open scenes. And it will ask for a particular name. So we will save it, right? So the scene, now the scene name has come as AR Workshop Demo Target. Now we will go to player settings. So first it will ask for company name and product name. So product name has already been given. Company name, you can give anything you want. So basically why it asks this, because if you want to publish this app in Google Play Store or anywhere else, so there will be a particular name. So that is why it is asking. So we can use anything, any name we want to give. I'm giving company name as IIST, right? So then we will move down, and here in this section, it comes as package name. So package name, in after .com, we will write the company name. I have given IIST and the project name, that is AR Workshop Demo. So it is now asking me what Android version we want to use. It has been selected Android 4.1 version and above. So for those Android versions, it will work. So here I will write as IIST and the product name is AR Workshop Demo. This is for identification. Okay. Okay. So now the most important part, to develop an AR application. So we have to move down. We have to go in this particular XR settings. Now in this XR settings, this Vuforia augmented reality checkbox should be checked or selected. If this is not selected, we'll not be able to use Vuforia. So we have to keep in mind, this should be checked. Now, after creating the VR application or AR application, if we click on build, then automatically the Android app will be built. So if we click on PC and we click on build, the .exe application will be built. Okay. So these are the steps. So we have enabled the Vuforia augmented reality. And then we will go to the main window of the project. So first what we will do is, we will now import the AR camera or the augmented reality camera, because for developing an AR application, we need the AR camera. So how to do that? We will click on game object and select Vuforia from it. So in Vuforia, the option will come as AR camera. We have to select AR camera. So it will ask for an option. We will click on import. And the AR camera will be imported. So this AR camera is inside Vuforia. So once the AR camera is imported, we will no longer require the main camera, because in this particular application, the computer will be using its own AR camera and not the main camera. So from the scene, we will delete the main camera. We don't need the main camera. We will use the AR camera. So I deleted them. I will delete the main camera. But if you are developing a VR application, then we will keep the main camera. If we are developing an AR application, we will use the AR camera. Now it is showing us AR camera. And when we click on the AR camera, this will come as camera preview. What the AR camera is visualizing now. And also the position and orientation in XYZ and roll pitch here. And also the scale of the AR camera is currently being shown. So in this right hand portion, the position and orientation of the particular object is shown. Now the AR camera is not visualizing anything. So the screen is blank. Okay. So next, what we have to do is we have to click on this Open Vuforia configuration, which is inside this Vuforia behavior. We will click on Open Vuforia configuration. In the Open Vuforia configuration, it will ask for app license key. So here we have to copy and paste the license that has been downloaded from Vuforia. We have kept it in our computer. Now I have already copied and pasted the license key. So once the license key has been pasted, next we will import the database. So how to do that? We will click on Asset and import new package and custom package. So assets, import package, custom package. In the custom package, we have to select that database. So this was the database that has been was downloaded from Vuforia. We have to select that package and we have to upload the database in Unity. So two things, as I have already told, will be used by Unity. One will be license, one will be database. Now I am importing, I have already copied and pasted the license. Now I am importing the database. So if we click on import, database will be uploaded. So in the assets already, the database has already came, we can see. Now, again, if we click on Open Vuforia configuration, this time it is showing us databases. So whatever databases are there, Load, AR Workshop, and some other databases are there. We will uncheck all the options and we will only select our particular database, that is AR Workshop. This database needs to be checked and the activate section needs also to be checked. And add database. So if we do this section, if we do this procedure, Unity will understand that for that particular license, this database needs to be used. So we will uncheck all other options. We will check our particular database and also we have to check activate. License and database is now being linked in Unity. Okay, so once the license and database configuration section has been done, next we will move to game object creation. What is a game object? Game object is basically the virtual object that we want to superimpose. So now we will be creating a virtual object that we want to superimpose on the real image. So now how to create a game object in Unity 3D, I will show you. So to create a game object, we have to click on this game object option. So we have to select whether we want to choose a 2D object or a 3D object to superimpose. If we want to choose a 3D object, 2D object. So, but first, creating the game object, we have to select a particular thing which is known as image target. What is that? I will show you why we are doing this. So we have to click on game object option. We have to go on Vuforia and we have to click on this image. And the image target will be created. So what is this image target? Image target is augmented reality means superimposition of virtual object in real world, right? So in real world, there is an image target, real image marker is there. So simultaneously in the virtual world also there will be an image target. So when in the real world, the way the image target behavior changes, the virtual image target will also be changed. So that is why first we have to create a image target. So once the image target is created, the position and rotation is now being shown. And here in the image target behavior, the database and image target is now being shown as empty. First, we have to select it. So it is now showing as complete white square or a white rectangle. We have to upload our image or the target image or the marker over here. What we will do? So we have to upload the image target. So how to upload the image target? We will click on the image target and in the database section, we have to select our particular database. Database, if we have already imported the asset and linked it, the database name will be shown, that is AR Workshop Demo Target. Whenever we select it, the image target will be, the marker image will be uploaded in the image target. So now the image target, the real and the virtual are now matching. So once the image target is uploaded or configured, now we have to change the position and orientation of the camera, AR camera, so that it becomes able to visualize the particular image target. So here I will give a rotation of 90 degree so that in the camera preview, we can see the image target, and I will move it in a certain way. So if I give a rotation of 90 degree, now the camera can preview the image target. So I will move it upwards so the whole image becomes visible. Now the whole image in the camera preview is visible. So what we are doing? So in real time, there will be real marker and the device camera, and also in the virtual world, there will be a virtual marker as the image target and the AR camera. So whenever in real time, the device camera detects the marker, exactly in same time in the virtual world, the AR camera will detect the virtual marker. So once it is now able to detect, to preview the whole image target, right? So next we will create our game object. So to create a game object, we can click on game object. We can select 3D object. I'm particularly using a cube as a game object over here. Now this cube is a very big in size. We have to scale it down and we have to place it on the image target. So the camera is now previewing the game object. So we will scale it down. We will make it a little bit smaller by changing the parameters of scale. So I make it 50% of its original size. I will place it in the middle on the marker. So we can either give positions over here, or we can click these arrows in the diagram to change the position of the game object. Now, after that, there is one important step. We have to make this particular game object as a child of this image target. So we have to click on this cube, and we can just click it under image target. We can make it its child. Child means the behavior of the particular game object will be controlled by the behavior of the image target. So that is what we want. We want whenever the image target, the position and orientation of the image target changes, the behavior of the image changes. Exactly in the same way, the game object behavior will change. So that is why the game object should be selected as a child of the particular image target. So once that part is done, we can just make some customization for the game object to look it a little bit different. We can use different shades for that one, and we can customize it by using these shaders. We can select different material shaders for that purposes. That comes under materials. So I'll be selecting the particular shader as Mars box. So now the game object looks like this as a Mars box. These are inbuilt shaders in Unity. Now this is once we have created the game object, as well as we have also created all the other particular things. Now it is time for testing. So now let us see whatever game object we have created, when the particular marker is detected, whether it can superimpose the particular game. So I will show the particular image in real time, and the real time video is detected, and we can see the computer automatically places or superimposes the game object. So the way I change the position and orientation of the marker, exactly the same way the virtual object is now changed. So that means it looks like that it has been, the virtual object is being placed on the real object. So if we view through AR glasses, we'll be able to see this virtual marker. The rotation and position and orientation behavior change has exactly been transferred to the virtual object. So till the time the computer is able to visualize the marker, it will continue to superimpose the virtual object. Right. So this is how we can develop an AR project. Now we just have to click on File and Build to develop this particular AR application as Android or .exe, whatever options we select. Now the game object, what I have given over here, it was static. So what if we want to animate the game object? We want to give some rotation to the game object. So whenever the particular marker is detected in real time, the game object is animated. The motion of the game object is animated. So what if we want to give, how we can create that, I will show you. So this was the particular game object, earlier game object. I will now, what I will do is, I will give some behavior, animation behavior to the game object. And how it is done? It is basically done by using scripts, programming scripts. So we can program the behavior of the game object in Unity. So in Unity, the language, the programming language Unity uses is C#. Okay. So in C#, we can program and we can add some animation to it. So what we will do, we will attach a script to the game object. Now, whenever I am clicking on the cube, the details of the cube is coming in the inspector window. What we have to do is we can click on add component and we will select script. So first I am just changing the orientation of the game object a little, and then I will add the script. So the change in game object orientation can be changed by using this option, and the game object can be moved by using this option. So we can click on add component and it will show us lots of things. So we have to click on scripts, new script. We have to give a name to the script. Script means the programming part where programming will be done. So the name of the script I'm giving as rotate game object. Okay. So then create and add. This option we have to select. The screen will open. If you have Visual C++ installed, it will open in Visual C++, or else Unity has its own inbuilt editor window that is known as MonoDevelop. So here in Mono will edit the script. So the script has already came, rotate game object. It is showing as C#. So I will double click it so it will open. It will open in MonoDevelop, the inbuilt package in Unity. So in MonoDevelop window, when the script opens, rotate game object is defined by its mono behavior. It consists of two parts. One is start and one is update. Start is used for initialization and update is for each and every time the AR object is detected, this loop will run. Whatever we write here, this loop will be running. So first we have to define the variables. So I am defining a particular variable as rotation rate. So what will be the speed of rotation? I'm giving as 10f. F stands for float. So after that, in initialization, I'm writing debug.log game object animation started. Why I'm writing this? Whenever this particular AR object is a marker is detected in the Unity window, it will write game object animation started. We can write anything what we want to use. In the update section, whatever we'll write will be iterated continuously. So we want to rotate the game object. So the code or the instruction for that one is transform dot rotate. This is the particular instruction which will instruct Unity to rotate the game object when the marker is detected. Transform.rotate, and then vector 3. So it is vector 3 and Euler angles. Okay, so vector 3 and then vector 3 dot down. So if I want to rotate the game object downward, I will have down. I want to rotate it upward, left side, right side. The way I want to rotate it in whatever direction, we can write it that command. So if I write transform.rotate vector 3 up, so it comes as up. If I write down, it will come as down. If I write left, it will go for left. If I write right, it will go for right. Okay. So I'm selecting down over here. And then the rotation speed. I have already defined the rotation rate. So rotation rate into time. So that means here I am giving, what I am giving over here is I'm setting the speed. So for each and every unit time that is not defined by delta time, the rotation rate multiplied with that delta time will be the speed. So this is the simple program to animate the behavior, where we will see how the game object is animated. The behavior of the game object is animated. Once this part is done, now let us see whether our animation works or not. So whenever it detects, now the game objects started to rotate downwards with that particular velocity. Okay. So this was all about game object creation and game object animation. So the game object we used over here was a cube. Now, what if we want to insert media, that means sound or video, and we want to play a media as a game object? So how to do it? So now I will show you how to insert a video in Unity 3D, and whenever the particular marker is detected, the video corresponding sound will be played. This is particularly very much useful for developing Industry 4.0 application for particularly training purposes. Whenever a person wearing AR glasses looks at a particular instrument which is having a particular marker, automatically the video recording will start for training, for medical training also. So all training purposes, how to do it, how to insert video or media file, we will see. So earlier our game object was cube. Now we will delete it because we will be using video. I will delete it. So in Vuforia, in the same way, I will select the image and 3D object as plane. Now earlier it was cube, now it will be plane. Why plane? Because in this particular plane, the 3D, the video will be played. So it is now plane. Okay. So we will scale it and make it equal size of our image target. So once that is done, I'm just changing the rotation of the plane so that the video is played perpendicular to the AR object. So I've given 90-degree rotation to it. Once the plane is done, plane configuration part is done, we will make it its child. The plane will be child of image target, and what part is remaining is we have to upload the particular video we want to play in the AR. So I will just select it and upload it. I'll be using this particular video VR robotics simulator. So we have to import that video in Unity. And in plane, we have to upload the video. So it is showing as video player as video clip. So I will upload select the video clip. Whenever the testing is done, so we will see now, whenever the marker is being detected perpendicular to it, the plane is shown. The video is getting played. Okay. So I think there are a couple of questions. Yeah. The camera is simple webcam. The laptop camera I have used. Any camera can be used. So mobile camera, laptop camera, webcam, anything we can use. Okay. Now, so what we have seen till now, how to create a game object, how to animate a game object, how to insert video files. Now, sir was showing a particular video. I will for creating a robot AR demo. So I have created a particular robot AR demo for this one. So I will show you and I will explain how this is being done. Okay. So an AR robot has been made. So whenever the particular marker is detected, the AR robot is superimposed. So not only that, here we can control the behavior of the robot with the help of buttons or sliders, that is virtual buttons and virtual sliders in the screen. So in the screen, we can see here is one robot and there are some virtual buttons and sliders. So by changing the sliders, we can change the robot behavior. Okay, so this is very much useful for education purposes in AR. So here, the interesting thing is we can control using the buttons of individual joints for individual buttons, or we can use the kinematics of the robot, and we can save some points or save some positions by using that save position button. And if we save those points, and if we just give a time duration and we click on play, we will see the robot automatically touches those points by and moves all those points by using its inverse kinematics. Okay. This is the first position. So I have saved 5 positions. Now the robot automatically starts moving in those positions, touching those positions. So it is using its inverse kinematics for that. So this is how we can develop applications. We can implement kinematics and all those things. We can play with AR. Now I did it. How this is done. So in Unity 3D, first what I did is I imported the particular CAD model of the robot. I designed the CAD model of the robot in SolidWorks. We can design using SolidWorks, Autodesk Fusion 360, whatever CAD software we are having. So we can develop the CAD model, or we can import it from Unity website or any other part. So once the CAD model is imported in Unity as an asset, so in an assets folder, we can import new assets. So you can import this particular asset. So the CAD model, once the CAD model is particularly imported, so we will see that whatever the CAD model is consisting of number of parts, that is lower platform base. I click on it, so it is showing us lower platform base. So the lower platform base is consisting of lots of things. Then there is back glass, base mechanics, bottom deck. So each and every individual parts has been imported. Then lower arm gear. So this is the lower arm gear portion. Then lower gear. So the whole individual parts and the assembly file has been imported over here. So once that part is done, that is made a child object of the image target. Right now, once the child object of the image target has been done, we have to create virtual buttons. Now, how we can create virtual buttons like this canvas and this sliders in Unity 3D we just saw. So in game object, there are some options like UI. UI means user interface. So in UI, we have lots of options like text, image, button, slider, canvas. So canvas will be the thing where all the virtual buttons will be pasted. So by selecting those things, we can actually create those virtual buttons over there. Now, once the virtual buttons has been done, now we see that there are lots of scripts. So we will create one object as robot control, and we can see this robot control consists of lots of script like initialize arm, theta3, upper arm slider, theta2, lower arm slider, base slider, theta1, and not points. Not points are saved points. Then emergency stop and kinematic scripts. So all those scripts are over here. So we have to program the scripts accordingly the way we want the robot to move. Like this is the script in base slider. If I open it, so this is the base slider script. So it is basically consists of the robot base and the robot rotation rate, and we can get the slider theta1 value by using the DH parameters. Now here is another slide as DH parameters or Dana-Witt-Hartenberg parameters, which is basically used for kinematics of the robot. And then there is the kinematic script. This is the main script. And then individual theta1 variation, when we are moving the theta1 slider, then the theta1 will be moved in that way, theta2, and then initialize arm script and emergency stop. So by using these particular scripts, we can actually create this particular application and we can develop the particular AR object. Okay. Okay, so up to this part, the AR section is done. Now I will move to VR section. So what is my objective over in this particular application? We will develop an application where we will connect accelerometer, and we will we can connect accelerometer or magnetometers, 3-axis magnetometers. So I'm using accelerometers or magnetometers over here, and we can connect those accelerometers or magnetometers with Unity by using Arduino. So how to interface Arduino and sensors with Unity 3D, and how can we read sensor values, and we can control the behavior of the virtual object according to the sensor values. I will show you. Okay. But before that, if you have any question on the particular AR part, you can ask in the chat box. Okay, so I hope no questions are there. So let us go to the application then. So this will be the overview. So introduction, a little bit introduction to Arduino and accelerometer sensor and how to interface the accelerometer sensor with Arduino, and then how to configure the Unity game environment, how to control a particular game object with Unity 3D. Now this is a very popular microcontroller board, Arduino Uno. So its advantages is it's having analog input, it's not having analog output. So a little bit mistake over here. It consists of analog input, PWM outputs, and coding is very easy, very good support and low cost. The limitations is low memory, noisy. It is having low processor speed and not suitable for machine learning or deep learning applications. No built-in Wi-Fi or Bluetooth like Raspberry Pi or ESP8266, not MCU. So this is the Arduino IDE where the programming of Arduino is done. The IDE consists of two sections. For each and every program, it consists of two sections. One is known as setup, and the other one is known as loop. So in the setup section, we write what we want to initialize, and in the loop section, we write whatever we want to run continuously or iteratively. Now this is the accelerometer module ADXL335. So this accelerometer is an electromechanical device that measures acceleration due to cause of gravity. Okay. So it is consisting of 5 pins, VCC and ground, that is plus 5 volt and ground, and using these 3 pins, X out, Y out and Z out, basically gives us the acceleration values. Now the ADXL335 gives complete 3-axis acceleration measurement. The module measures acceleration within range of 3g to minus 3g, in the X, Y, and Z axis. The output signals of these modules are analog voltages. So we have to use analog inputs in Arduino. They are proportional to acceleration. It contains a polysilicon surface micromachine sensor and signal conditioning circuitry. So this is how the accelerometer sensor looks like. So how it works, the working mechanism basically consists of, it is having some fixed plate and some moving plates. So whenever there is an acceleration, the distance between the fixed plate and the moving plates changes, and the capacitance between them also changes. And by reading those capacitance values, you can actually measure the acceleration. So the operating principle is acceleration deflates the moving mass and unbalances the differential capacitor, which results in a sensor output voltage amplitude, which is proportional to the acceleration. And phase sensitive demodulation techniques are then used to determine the magnitude as well as direction of the application. So these are the description of the 5 pins. Now we can also calculate orientation of a particular object by using this accelerometer. So that means we can calculate the angle of inclination or tilt by using X, Y, and Z values. Now how we can calculate it? So this is the output, acceleration value output formula. So these 3 angles we can measure: roll, angle of rotation along x-axis, pitch, angle of rotation along y-axis, and yaw, angle of rotation along z-axis. Now to calculate the roll, pitch, and yaw in the range of minus 90 to 90 degree, we have to map it. So this sensor basically gives the values in the range of minus 90 to 90. So we have to map it in minus 180 to plus 180 so degree, so that we can get a complete 360 degree rotation. So what is the formula? The formula for conversion of the accelerometer values into corresponding angle is this. This is the final formula what we will be using in the Arduino. So this particular function will produce the result in the range of minus pi to pi, that is minus 180 to plus 180. Now how the sensor will be connected? So it is basically connected, the VCC will be connected with plus 5 volt, the ground is connected to with the ground pin, and X, Y, and Z we can use A1, A2, A3 or A0, A1, A2 pins, whatever we want, we can use from here, whatever we want to use. Now the Arduino program for this accelerometer interfacing. So we will define the X input, Y input, and Z input variable as 0, 1, and 2. That means I am using over here as A0 pin, A1 pin, and A2 pin on Arduino Uno. Now here will be some, we have to put this X minimum and X maximum values. That means what are the values for minus 1G we are getting, and whatever acceleration values output we are getting for plus 1G acceleration. We have to give it over here. And then we will read by using those corresponding commands, and we can convert them by using now we can open Arduino first. In the Arduino IDE, initially all the values will be defined to its maximum value as 512, right? But we have to find what are the X raw minimum, X raw maximum, Y raw minimum, Y raw maximum, and Z raw minimum and Z raw maximum. That is, what are the values are coming for minus 1G and plus 1G for X axis, Y axis, and Z axis. Now this section serial begin is for serial transmission. These 3 commands will be reading the values in x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. Read the values and it will print the values as extra minimum and extra maximum. Now, once the values we have got, that will be values for minus 90 degree to plus 90 degree. We will map the values into corresponding plus 180 degree to minus 180 degree. This is the program. So once we upload the program,
ಮತ್ತೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿಡಿಸೋದ್ರಿ ಏನದನ್ನ
so once we upload the program over here, I'm showing you over here, this is the Arduino Uno, which is connected with the accelerometer. I have connected the Arduino Uno with my computer. Once it is connected in the back side, I have connected the accelerometer. I'm selecting the board and particular port. Now what we have is we have to move. We have to move this particular Arduino Uno different orientations, and we will just check whatever values we are getting for minus 1G. So for x minus 1G, x-axis values is coming as 331, y-axis is 269, and z-axis is 316. Now I'm changing the orientation of the particular modules, and in the same way, we will receive the values over here. So I'm getting different values. Different rotations and positions. So in this part, the calibration is being done for minus 180 degree and plus 180 degree. So once this part is done, I have received the values as for minus 1G, it is coming as x minimum is coming as 266 and maximum is coming as 399, or y minimum 266, maximum y 399, and z minimum is 268, and z maximum is 403. So these ones, these three calibration values as received, we will move to the main program. Now you can see if we are changing it in the same way, the XYZ acceleration values are changing. So we are getting the acceleration values now in X, Y, and Z axis. So for each and every change in orientation, we will be getting corresponding orientation value in the form of acceleration, which we have to convert in corresponding angle values. So the conversion of the angle values from the acceleration values will be done in Unity 3D. So for that, we have to open Unity. We have to create a project name. So in the same way, we have to click on, go on in build settings, and we have to give the company name and package name. So you have to click on player settings, just like earlier. We have to add the open scenes. We are not in Vuforia over here. That's why I have not selected the Vuforia application in XR. Now the next thing is what we want to do is we here will be creating a virtual environment. So I'll be creating a virtual environment, which will be sort of a game over here. And my objective over here is to control the orientation of the game object in the virtual environment with the help of sensor values. How to do that one? So first we can go on in assets. We can click on import package and environment. So these are inbuilt import environment packages we can use, or we can create our own environment for that. So I'm using the inbuilt environment package in Unity. So once the environment comes and the standard asset, we will see that there are a lot of textures are there. I will be selecting a particular texture as terrain. Okay, so once the particular terrain is selected, so here the game object I'll be using as a plane, an aeroplane. So I am importing the aeroplane over here. So the aeroplane has been imported. So this is the plane model. That particularly we want to use. So the plane has been imported. And then we can create terrains of particular textures. I'll be creating mountains over here, and that is why I'm selecting this particular terrain. And using these brush options in the terrain, we can create mountains to elevate surfaces. So the scene will look like a plane is moving over the mountains. Okay, once the terrain part is done, the next part is I will place the plane in such a position, and I will also place the main camera in such a position so that it becomes able to visualize the plane. So I'm using the main camera over here. Since we are not using the AR application, the main camera is visualized. So I will change the position of the main camera so the plane can be viewed properly. The aeroplane. So this is how now the game looks like. So after that, we want to read the sensor values in Unity 3D. For that one, what we have to do, we have to use the scripts or the programming scripts for that one. So I will create a programming script for that. So this particular script, what we will consists of is, I will define the variables as X angle, Y angle, and Z angle. We calculate the orientation of the plane. And then there is a command as private serial port manager. The serial port manager and the COM port. So this is basically the COM port we have to select in which we have connected Arduino to it. So the architecture is, whenever we are changing the orientation of the accelerometer, the corresponding sensor values are sent. Arduino is connected with the computer, particular COM port, sends the values to you. It reads those sensor values and updates the position and orientation of the virtual object. The serial port manager and the COM port basically deals with that one. This is the code for that. And developing an .exe application here. So I will select the application as PC and then build. So it will automatically create the .exe application. So now when we test, so the application will open. Now I'm holding the Arduino and the accelerometer is connected with it. I will change the orientation and let us see whether the orientation of the plane changes or not. So this is how we can actually control the behavior of the game object in the virtual world with the help of real sensor data, real-time sensor data. So the heading control of the plane is being done over here by using accelerometer values. Okay, so this is how we can interface sensors and Arduino with Unity. We can read sensor values in Unity and we can control the behavior of the game object in Unity. Now, for visualizing this VR application, we need VR glasses, or we can see it in the computer screen or mobile screen. But to get a more realistic feeling, we need VR glasses. So there is Oculus Rift or HTC Vive Pro. Those glasses are there, but they're very expensive. There are also number of VR glasses are available today, but I thought to show you how we can make VR glass with in our home. So Google has already given instruction for that one. So we can use that cardboard patterns and we can develop these VR glasses in our home. And that this gives a pretty much good feeling of immersiveness. So we can use piece boards from there. There is a particular measurement for that one. We can cut those piece boards according to the measurements. The measurements are already available in Google. So it is known as Google VR cardboard. We can just cut it in accordingly. And for these lenses over here, we can use either convex lenses or we can use plastic bottles. We have to cut those plastic bottles and we have to just join them and filled with water. So this the shape will look like. We can use this plastic bottles surfaces as lens. So we can use convex lenses for these purposes. We can just make sort of a box. So we have to keep it in SBS mode or 360 mode. We can place the mobile and we can visualize. It gives a pretty good feeling. Right. So this was all about VR and AR. Now I will show you about something about haptics. So sir has already demonstrated that if we want to feel VR objects or AR objects, so if we want to get a touch sensation, so then we can use this haptic. So we have one haptic device, Phantom Omni haptic device in our lab. So this is the Phantom Omni haptic device which is available in our lab. So whenever we are touching a particular virtual object, so this gives a realistic feeling of touch. So when in the eye we are seeing a particular virtual object or AR object, we also get the touch feeling, which makes it more immersive. And these things are pretty much useful for medical applications during surgery. So if a surgeon not present in the site, he is doing a surgery by observing those VR virtual reality scene. So in those cases, to get the touch feeling, you can use these devices. So this is the Phantom Omni haptic device. Now the way I change so this basically consists of motors and encoders. The way I am changing the position and orientation simultaneously in the virtual field also, the position and orientation is getting updated. Now we can read the encoder values. So it is connected with the computer and I'm running the software. So we can get the encoder values of the haptic device in XYZ positions. So these are switches in that we can use for the particular purpose. And the thing is, we can also test forces. So I was getting a force feedback in my hand when I was operating it. So the task over here is I will move this haptic device in the particular box, and whenever the marker the wall, there will be a force feedback and the value will be shown in the figure. So now I can see there is a force in newtons. The force feedback is being given in my hand. I am feeling a force feedback. whenever it touches the borders. So that means it understands the virtual world and it provides a realistic feedback. That means suppose if I close my eyes and I operate this device, I will get a feeling that I have reached the walls of the virtual borders. So in XYZ direction, it is giving me the forces. So this is very useful in VR applications. Now there is a simulation to do a dental operation. So we can use this haptic device for particularly that one. So whenever the stylus hits the wall of the teeth, so those curved teeth, basically the texture of the teeth can be felt in the hand actually. Whenever it is hitting a hard surface, it is giving me that feeling. So the feeling may be configured as spongy, the feeling may be configured as rigid based on the surfaces, and that is done through programming. So to feel the virtual world, we can use this type of devices. So we can also give characteristics like magnetic attraction in this haptic device. Whenever the cursor comes in vicinity of this rotating cylinder, it automatically attracts the cursor, and I feel that something is attracting as if a magnet is present. So magnetic characteristics also we can give in the virtual world. And the last thing is I developed one application for endoscopy. So if we are visualizing for heart surgery, so I can control the environment and by using this haptic device. So this heart I have basically developed from MRI images by 3D reconstruction. And now I am like doing a virtual endoscopy. I'm moving the haptic device, and accordingly the position and orientation of the haptic device is being transferred to the virtual endoscope, and we can visualize the heart. And whenever the virtual endoscope touches the virtual wall of this virtual heart, I will get a realistic feeling of touch, that it is touching something. So I will be able to understand. So this is how during surgery or endoscopy or for training purposes, we can use these haptic devices. Okay, so this is from my part. Questions, then we discuss. Okay. I will request Professor Bhomik to continue. Okay, I hope no questions are there. So I would request Professor Bhomik to continue the session.
Participants, any questions from your end?
Hello, sir. Hello.
Yeah, audible.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for that session. Now we'll have a group photos. I request all participants to come in video mode. I request all participants to come in video mode. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you all. I wholeheartedly thank Saptak Bhattacharya sir for this session.
Thank you.
Now,
Thank you.
the link for the feedback of this session will be shared in, I think already shared in the
It's
chat
shared.
box there. I request all participants to give the feedback, and we'll post the timing of next session in WhatsApp group. Thank you all. Thank you, Saptak sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
হ্যালো না হ্যাঁ কালকে আসবো আচ্ছা